to our last panel discussion of the day. And the topic would be well-being at work, the changing landscape in changing times. So for this, I want to call on stage, please put your hands together for Ms. Sangeeta Parameswaran, GM-HR Operations from Blue Star Limited. Can we have a huge round of applause for the beautiful lady? Mr. Shailesh Vilkaran, Mr. Shailesh Vilkar, Senior VP HR from Schindler, India. Ms. Divya Gupta, Area Human Resource Director, IHCL from Taj Palace. Can we have a huge round of applause? Captain Vipul Sharma, DGM-HR, Admin and IT from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries India Private Limited. Okay, now the important one, our moderator, please put your hands together for Mr. Rajesh Kumar Tripathi, Zonal General Manager from NSICLTD Limited. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Rajesh and all the panel members? And the last one, we have Mr. Shwet, Awasthi, HR Head, NDDB, Dairy Services. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Shwet? So over to you, sir. The time is yours. Thank you so much.
Check, check, check. Thank you, it's working. So very good afternoon to all of you. Most of you must be quite happy that this is the last session. बहुत बोर किया सुबह से इन लोगों ने. आप कम से कम घर जाएंगे. मगर उसके पहले हमें भी अधिकार है आपको 1 घंटा बोर करने का. So with pleasure, be happy and listen to us. So I have got a esteemed panel. Let me welcome Sangeeta from Blue Star, and we have got from Schindler, Mr. Shailesh Vilankar. Mr. P. Srinivasan has not come. He's not arriving today. And Divya with me from Taj, and you have got Captain Vipul Sharma, and finally Shwet Awasthi. So now that the introduction has already been given by my colleague, I will not focus on much. The topic that we have today is a very interesting topic. It is, you call wellness at work, the changing landscape in changing times. So you will see, I mean, the work is also there, the landscape is also there, and the times is all. Everything is changing. So when everything is changing, what will remain constant? That's the point of discussion. तो इससे पहले कि शुरू करें मैं एक बार देखना चाहता हूं कितना जोश है आप लोगों में जगाने के लिए. एक शेर मैं कहूंगा आप लोगों को, जरा ध्यान दीजिए कि बात कम कीजिए, जहानत को छुपाते रहिए. निदा फाजली साहब ने कहा था कि बात कम कीजिए, जहानत को छुपाते रहिए. ये नया शहर है, कुछ दोस्त बनाते रहिए, और दुश्मनी लाख सही खत्म न कीजिए रिश्ता. दुश्मनी लाख सही खत्म ना कीजिए रिश्ता, दिल मिले ना मिले हाथ मिलाते रहिए. सो हाथ आप लोग मिलाते रहिए और थोड़ी देर ध्यान से हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. So friends, we have got that quite interesting topic that we are discussing. It's about wellness at work. Work earlier used to be quite static. In today's world, it has become dynamic. Work cannot be considered your simply workplace. Work, I mean, your house is also a workplace in today's scenario. Post-COVID, so many things have changed. And if you talk about ILO, International Labour Organization, it says that the wellness at work is not only the basic infrastructure or all the thing, it is also related to OSH, that occupational safety and health. And if you see, there is an organization in UK, CIPD, it says almost in that country, almost 40% of the companies that they have, only 40% of the companies had something related to wellness at the work. And another survey said that 56% of the absenteeism was related to mental illness. The wellness was not there. So there are various challenges, various concepts. So let me start with Sangeeta. And I would request Sangeeta to just focus on something about what is work-life boundaries and how to avoid the burnout and fatigue, and especially in context to your organization as well. Sangeeta.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. Am I audible? Got used to it thanks to the Zoom times. To start with, I've been working for 22 years, and when I received this topic, so I was just thinking from Cynics, I was thinking as to where does this all come from in terms of the work-life boundaries, the burnout, etc. So as I was just looking through, researching, looking at a few documents, and I realized that there was a statistic which said that 82% of working professionals consider work as the primary driver in their lives, which is a source of validation, which is their source of self-identity. So that's how important work is in your life. So having said that, if you see today the way we work, we are on an always available mode. Okay, so earlier it used to be, before COVID, I think end of the day used to be typically 6:37 by the time you wind up work and then you leave for your home. But now it is like when you tell your boss that I will submit this report end of the day, that end of the day can be 11, 12, 2 a.m. It could be any time till you actually submit your report or project or PPT for that matter. And where did that all come from? I think a lot is to the COVID times and to this ever available work mode. And I think in a way, WFH has been a bane in that sense because it's like you don't actually wind up when you close your laptop in office. You are expected to submit that end of the day. Work never gets finished. And thanks to this all kind of messaging available through your email, through WhatsApp, different modes, it is like an always all-time work mode. So obviously there is going to be a burnout. There is going to be a sense of feeling overwhelmed by this entire scenario. If you consider you're traveling by metro, you're traveling by train, buses, earlier you would have people chit-chat, you would have people reading papers, books, but here now most of the time we are looking at our tab, we are looking at our laptop and looking at how we can close that particular mail or return those work calls that we have missed during the day. And that's how you see the boundaries between work and personal life are blurring. And as we were discussing some time back, it's actually that work-life integration which is important. That is, am I able to have a flexible work routine wherein it is like, otherwise you're living your life from weekend to weekend. And even during weekends, it is like Saturday you're wrapping up your work and Sunday you have your Sunday scaries. Ki baba kal क्या क्या आने वाला है क्या है मैं सुबह अभी प्रिपेयर करके रख लेता हूँ because कल सुबह इतने सारे मेल्स का बराज होने वाला है and there'll be some employees waiting to meet me for certain matters. So having said that, I think it is about conquering your FOMO. It is about the fear of missing out, that I need to be there everywhere in terms of to be present, to have my presence felt. And it is about tweaking your timelines, understanding that and I actually read a research which also said that about there is 82 to 85% of increase in anxiety, depression, mental illnesses that has happened after COVID, and not really related to the pandemic per se, but because of this overwhelming work routine that all of us have got into, this always work on mode. So in terms of if you're sitting in office, we think that, okay, how do I make sure that I don't miss my daughter's PTA? Or if I am attending a family dinner, I'm thinking about, oh, that presentation, which still has to be given to my boss. So it's more that you can't actually divide work and your life. And I would say work life and leisure life. It's as if work is not life. So I would rather call it work life and leisure life. So having said that, I think it is about tweaking your boundary, tweaking those project lines, understanding where is it, understanding your own boundaries, set those boundaries, have those open, candid conversations as to what is it that you can do, and actually keep that time for yourself and pursue interests outside work. So that, tying back to my first point of you are something then beyond work. You are a basketball champ. Yeah, I love birding. So I take a lot of pride in identifying different species of birds. So if that is giving me fulfillment, I have a life outside work. Or I would love to be maybe my daughter's best baddie champ, for example. So then there is a life outside work, and then your boundaries will naturally integrate better, and your burnout would be lesser. So that's
Great, great, Sangeeta. So from Sangeeta's viewpoint, at least you could understand that there is a concept of EOD, end of day, so that doesn't exist because the day is never over. जिस दिन आपका काम खत्म होगा उसी दिन खत्म होता है.
Just one more point that what I think would help is a flexible policy. So in Blue Star, we have a flexi policy where we don't really look at the hours that we clock in at work. It is more on a results-only work environment, which is like what's called an ROWE, so that there is an environment wherein you're looking at deliverables, you're looking at, all of us are professionals, adults out here. So we know what is to be accomplished in what period of time. So we don't really need a stick that you look and clock in 8.5 hours.
So that means that if you suppose you complete your work of the full day in just 2 hours, you are free to go to 4-5 years कहीं घूमने फिरने के लिए?
In terms of if there is somebody leaving office, say in the middle of the day for that particular day, because of any assignment, it's perfectly fine.
Thank you, thank you. In fact, I remember बहुत पहले when I used to travel, तो मुझे अच्छा लगता था खिड़की से बाहर की खूबसूरती देखना, और अपने बगल में मैं किसी को बैठा देखता था बेचारा लैपटॉप पे हैरान परेशान कुछ मेल का जवाब देता वो कुछ, तो वो ज़िंदगी वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस की इस तरीके से चल रही थी. So let me tell you, as of now, work-life balance concept is a myth. Recently, in one of the books, it has been told that actually work-life is simply an integration between work and life. Balancing part, it doesn't exist. How you manage, that's your call. So let me move to Shailesh. I mean, Shailesh, how do you think that, how do you assess that workload and sick leave, time off policies, this addressing this unnecessary pressure on staff? What is your viewpoint on that?
Okay, so thank you. Good evening, friends. While I'm nearing 50 in my age, I think I'm the youngest on this stage because just 4 months old in the system in HR. My entire 28 years, I have been in field operations. I was the field operations head for Schindler India. We are into lifts, escalator. We are into sales, installation, maintenance, breakdown, annual maintenance contracts, so all the action which I was taking care, and 4-5 months in HR. So my main intention coming here was to listen more and speak less. But thank you for this question, Rajesh ji. In fact, as a operations head, I never understood why everything in operations happens in the last week of the month, why everything happens on the quarter end, why everything happens on the last month of the year. So December used to be crazy in our company, crazy. So 18 years I'm with Schindler, and that last week used to be like, it's a war, it's a fight. And everywhere, every branch, every location, everybody is carrying so much of a pressure. And then we thought that if we are slogging so much, is the break needed? And I think 3 years back, we decided, okay, we will declare the first week of the year, when we start the year, as a block leave. And I could feel that, like, you know, exam ke baad, jo chutti milti hai, wo jo ek alag maza hai. I think we could feel that the joy on the face of the employees when we first declared. They could not believe that 5 days block leave, start of the year. What is, are you crazy? But we started that and we got a good result of that. Slowly we moved, then we realized that this is also very important. And then we realized that even the field staff who's on the field, I think they also, so they were 6 days and we were privileged to be 5 days. So then we said, why we are doing this? Why this discrimination that field staff has to work 6 days a week? And we, or the office staff is
this practice is still prevalent, huh? Most of the organizations.
Absolutely. So we actually stopped that. Now even for the field staff, we are moving. So we immediately have not moved to 5 days a week, but for 5.5 days a week. We could see that with that also we are able to attract people, especially on the field staff. So alternate Saturday off for my installation team, maintenance team. Then Schindler also has a university in our campus in Chakan, and where we have Jeevan Jyot Academy, which typically deals with this well-being. So 21 was the year when we discussed, or all the programs were towards the mind, health, well-being. Last year, 22 was the physical fitness, and this year we plan to be financial well-being of the employees. So we feel that if we touch upon these 2-3 important topics, I think many employees in the organization can be benefited.
Great, great. Thank you. So since most of you sitting here are from HR, though my question would not be that much relevant, but still I feel to ask, how many of you actually like those employee engagement activities in your company, if it is on Sunday or Saturday, or weekly off days? For HR, it's KRA, so they will say, yes, sir, it is good.
No, Rajesh, I'll give a quick, because I used to be a branch manager for our many branches.
Sure.
And I have seen that maintenance engineer का birthday, हम लोग केक काट रहे हैं और वो बंदा field पे है और हम लोग ऑफिस के बंदे केक खा रहे हैं. So that used to be the engagement activity. You know?
Yeah, nice one. So let me move to Divya. Divya, she has been area director for hotel industry for quite many years. So my question to her would be, I mean, what benefits can have a meaningful impact on employees' circumstances? How do you say that?
Okay, check. So, meaningful is one word which is really hyped these days, and we all end up actually talking about it in a lot of official forums, like, please have meaningful dialogue. Please hire meaningfully, So that's something very important. In short, I think meaningful is about having what is required. When you asked about well-being, and Sushil, you very rightly said, well-being, I would say until last year, or maybe last to last year, well-being was confined to 3 Fs, which is fruits, fitness, and flu shots. But now it has really evolved above this terminology. Well-being is about a holistic purpose, and how do we bring that purpose into our organization? And believe me, when we talk about Gen Zs or millennials and the yesteryear age groups, everybody has different meaning to the initiatives that we all do. As you rightly said, that how many of us do HR activities and how many of us enjoy it? Well, I think the answer would be whether I really like that initiative, I would come even on a Sunday. But if I don't like, if it's not meaning to me, then I would not come. So the crux of this well-being, I think, would be how do we select what kind of initiative we want to run in the organization? And also before that, do we really need to run initiative, or do we need to really bring in that cultural change? Having one-day Zumba classes is not the requirement now. We all have gone through a lot of struggle and trouble during COVID times. Many of us lost the near and dear ones. We have seen employees, HR people, kudos to all of us, and even the operations head, definitely in many industries, to sail through this tough, difficult time. You have kept yourself motivated. You have to now bring that energy in the workforce. So first is stop thinking whenever you design any program from I. Think about we. What I want doesn't exist. What we want is what you want to gauge on. Think about,
except for iPhone.
Yeah, I agree. I vote for that. So analyze what are the kind of well-being activities your company is looking at present. Don't start from scratch. Every one of us do some or other thing any which ways. We just have to now realign it, integrate it with our business objective. As you rightly said, is work life is finding that balance in the workplace. Align your passion. Like I would say in IHCL, you do a lot of things which is inclusive. That's also one of the way of aligning it. When we design any engagement activity, believe me, HR is the driver, right? But we involve other departments. Hey, International Women's Day is coming. What do you want us to do? We don't want pink stoles, right? But we want something more. So hear from them. Design an initiative which is creating a right balance of your passion at work. You don't have to seek your passion outside work. It can very well be experienced here, but you need to work on it. I think that's what is the meaning, purpose of well-being to me. And
Great,
this goes here is for the people, about the people. Simple.
So Divya, I mean, being meaningful is somehow related to being mindful also.
Yes.
I hope a few of you might have attended some kind of training long time back. Mindful eating, mindful talking. मतलब हर वो काम करो जिसमें आपका क्या दिल लगा हो? फिर दिल को दिमाग क्यों कहते हो? चलिए, मैं अभी हम लोग वेलबींग की बात कर रहे हैं। बहुत अच्छे शायर हैं, उन्होंने भी वेलबींग की बात की थी। मैं आप लोगों को उनकी बात पहुंचाता हूं। बशीर बद्र साहब का नाम सुना होगा आप लोगों ने। तो उन्होंने कहा था कि वेलबींग कैसे करोगे आप लोग अपनी? तो कहते कि खुद को इतना भी मत बचाया कर, खुद को इतना भी मत बचाया कर, बारिशें हो तो भीग जाया कर। खुद को इतना भी मत बचाया कर, बारिशें हो तो भीग जाया कर, और चांद लाकर कोई नहीं देगा, अपने चेहरे से जगमगाया कर। चांद लाकर कोई नहीं देगा, अपने चेहरे से जगमगाया कर। और दर्द हीरा है, दर्द मोती है। दर्द दर्द हीरा है, दर्द मोती है, दर्द आंखों से मत बहाया कर। और कौन कहता है दिल मिलाने को, कम से कम हाथ तो मिलाया कर। चलिए, तो दोस्तों, इस जिंदा दिली के एहसास के साथ अब हम बढ़ते हैं। हमारे नेक्स्ट स्पीकर हैं विपुल शर्मा जी। होप यस शर्मा जी ना, ओके दैट्स राइट। वो शायरी पढ़ने में कई बार टाइटल इधर उधर चले जाते हैं। सो विपुल, आई हैव वन क्वेश्चन फॉर यू। आई मीन, व्हाइल एड्रेसिंग the work-life boundaries, how does your company has managed those fatigue and those burnouts? And is there a different perspective to it?
So thank you for giving the opportunity. I think thanks Zenix and thanks the lovely panel. We had a prior discussion, how we are going to go about it. I feel this whole concept of creating a barrier, I think we just spoke that, and I think you agreed, countered, saying that there is no proper definition of defining work-life boundary. It is coexisting. It is happening at the same time. I come from a mixed background, so my way of looking at things is slightly different. 10 years in corporate, 13 years in corporate and 10 years with the armed forces. So I look it from a slightly different perspective. I was not born in HR, but the way I have been raised, I have understood one thing. You always have to create something new and at the same time break the boundaries. Now, this whole concept of work-life boundaries, or about sudden realization that your mental well-being is more important than your physical well-being, I think I slightly would like to say that they coexist together. If you are physically fit, then you are mentally into the things. And similarly, if you are mentally tired, you cannot get into the focus zone where you need to perform. So both are the same side of the coin, and so is work-life boundary. Now, we are living our life in office also. Why do we have to define it that after work, I will go back to my home and enjoy? There have been many, I'm very fond of watching these memes which are slightly, making fun of HR. We heard one terminology here, ki Holi Diwali pe hi karte hain. The right thing is, while creating these work-life boundary or talking about this burnout and fatigue, are we really addressing the question? Are we really passionate about what we are doing? Sometimes, all these memes which comes for the HR, why don't we feel bad about it, or why don't we take learning from it, that the employee engagement programs have to be defined in a manner that they really bring the best out of the persons and they really enjoy it. So I would like to say that you must live your life while you are working. Then only you are holistically living your life. I'll give you a few examples. What we created in our organization was we created some semi-formal talks, and we'll discuss with the employees of different genre, different categories. So we are always trying to remove that intra or inter-department boundaries. We are always trying to, creating those cross-functional champions where they discuss about their lives. At the same time, what we are trying to do is making your organization such a place where you just go and enjoy that life. So many initiatives which I'll subsequently discuss, and one of a very important topic which we are talking about is the wellness or the engagement. I just would like to say a very short, a small example. Recently we had an escalation, so this boy reached out to the top management for a very trivial issue. So I was told that, okay, speak to him. I always believe that, the people have layers like onions. You just need to peel them off. So I spoke to this boy.
संभल के आंसू आएंगे तुम्हारे, लेकिन जब भी प्याज छिलोगे.
I'll try to keep it less emotional, but yeah, there was this 25-year-old boy, and who was just telling, no, sir, this happened, and etc., etc. Subsequently, from work, we're moving it. And immediately, he had not only tears in his eye, he's blasted like anything. He cried like anything. He was just crying his heart out. And then he told, at my, my home, some problems happening between my sister-in-law and my mother, and my love interest has moved to foreign, and she's calling me there, and not sure how is my life going to be. The next 10 to 15 minutes were not a counseling session. It was just, appeasing. I just told him, I'm there for you. So this is how engagement, I feel, is also done, that we are there for you. Until unless we are passionate about our work, until and unless HR doesn't feel very confident, very strong about itself, I think we will lose out. We will lose out to the digitalization. So it's very important to, address the questions and try to be proactive. Thank you.
Great, Vipul. So you might have seen a very emotional and very human-friendly approach of an ex-army fellow at captain level. Had he come here after being a colonel, तो कर्नल का आपने देखा होता कि आज की तारीख में मैक्सिमम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में भी आप लोगों के मिले होंगे. वेरी टफ, हार्ड टास्क मास्टर, कंप्लीट डिसिप्लिन. और फिल्म में तो दिखाती तो हमेशा बंदूक के साथ, मूछे और बंदूक. तो अच्छा हुआ कि अभी कर्नल बनने से पहले आ गए इतनी मुस्कुराती हुई भावनाओं के साथ. So Shwet, now let me ask you, I mean, being in HR for so many years, I mean, how do you see that leveraging technology to support mental health practices? I mean, how do you find that these work out at the workplaces?
Okay, so when we talk about leveraging technology for the well-being aspect, I think a lot of the panelists have already spoken about it. But one thing which I would specifically say here is that over the next 5 years, HR is going to change a lot. We have already seen, right from the pandemic phase. And if I talk about my own organization, I'll give an example of it. Now, we come from a very traditional, dairy background, and
keep it a bit closer, Mike.
And I have been here for the past 9 years. So what I have seen is that, even shifting from that phase, the COVID phase, we faced a lot of challenges. Why we faced that was because people were not used to, staying at home and, then getting on Zoom calls and getting into the productivity aspect of it, because that was very important to measure. But we had no other option but to actually, sit at home, and then people started having their conferences, their trainings, and then, their meetings started happening online. And for a traditional company like ours, of a certain aspect, you could see that there were certain people who were of a certain age, right? They found the technology challenge a lot more than the youngsters.
Yeah.
Now, what has happened over the past few years is that it has become ingrained in the system, right? Now, when I talk about specific well-being aspects, you talk about our certain policies, even during the COVID phase, we went through a lot of tragedy ourselves. Certain people expired, and but at the same time, our team kept on working till the end. The HR team was on the job, and I can certainly take the name of my team members over here. They were the ones, even during that phase, when everybody was sort of down and out, and you could always leverage technology, right? So the policies were online, everything was online. Everybody just had to call the insurance provider and could have been done. But the HR team itself, went ahead, and they did that job. So what has happened is that even today, when I talk about this, somebody is in a problem, or something happens in an organization, even at 2 o'clock in the night, I can be 100% sure that our team would be standing for them. And they have that confidence, they can call them up, and people never crib about it. And they have never even asked for that reward. They have never even asked for that, that this is something which we did, and they just do it because it has been ingrained in them. Now, what comes over here is, it's not the technology part. I also know, everybody knows about their policies online and everything. You just need to log on to your laptop and get it, and everything can be taken care of. No, but the person himself is available. I think that's the biggest aspect over here. So the well-being part is that, yes, the connect with the people is very good. technology can be leveraged. We are using technology. We are slowly and progressing towards including more technology. But as I think, as a professional, and what I have seen is that companies which leverage a lot on technology miss out somewhere on the human aspect. And that is something which we as HR professionals really feel we should not be doing. We should be connecting with the people more, use technology wherever it is for the benefit of the employees, but it is better to actually connect with the people. And that is something which we have felt. People have gone ahead, they have gone the extra mile, and for that I think it is just having good people around us. Our team is wonderful, everybody is wonderful, they give more than their 100%, but it's more than the fact that it comes from within. So people are helping people out. So that's why, why I said this is because 2 o'clock in the night, they are not calling me, they are calling my team. So I can't really, stress more on that this is something which they have gone ahead and done it.
Yeah.
So I think that is...
In fact, what I feel HR is bridge in an organization. क्योंकि मतलब इसके दो सेंस से आप देख सकते हो. अगर आप ब्रिज के सेंस से देखोगे तो बहुत पॉजिटिव लगेगा. आप अगर सैंडविच के सेंस से देखो, मतलब नीचे का भी स्टाफ जब भी कुछ उसका दुख दर्द होता है आपके पास आता है, आपसे लड़ता है, झगड़ता है, कुछ भी करता है. और बॉस भी जब आपको मारना पीटना होगा तो स्टाफ को सीधे नहीं जाएगा, पहले आप ही को ठीक करेगा. तो आपको दोनों तरफ से वो सहते रहना है. तो आपका दिल बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है, आप बड़े मजबूत हो जाते हैं. क्यों? एग्री करते हो आप लोग? आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ आर फ्रॉम HR ओनली.
Just like to
Yeah, Sangeeta wants to say something. Yeah, please, I know.
So connecting technology and well-being, what we have done at Blue Star. In fact, my teams from North and East are in the audience, and they have given birth to this. Actually talking about mental health, because before I moved to HR, I was a mental health professional. And many times I feel it continues to be a stigma to talk about depression, anxiety, etc. And actually around us, 1 in 4 individuals at any given point in time is undergoing that. So to meet this, we have come up with this solution, which is digital, called Mind Matters. And in fact, my team members, Silky and Anushri, who are there in the audience,
oh, great.
They have come up with this idea, wherein it was a tie-up with Practo, and which is an anonymous counseling seeking.
It's just like one-to-one. There is a Bangalore-based company which is doing
so there is something that, and it is open for their families, their children, if they want to talk about exam pressure. It could be about some discord at home. It could be any of that matter, anonymously. And I strongly believe it is important to talk about these things, because one thing that I heard very strongly from one of my fellow psychiatrists when I was working in a mental health department, he said that jab you get a fracture in the leg, nobody says ki theek ho jayega, apne aap theek ho jayega, thoda time do, jara हवा बदल लो या हिल स्टेशन चले जाओ, बदल जाएगा, ठीक हो जाएगा. बट माइंड का फ्रैक्चर जब होता है, विच इज एंग्जाइटी और डिप्रेशन, अ हेयरलाइन फ्रैक्चर लाइक अ माइल्ड एंग्जाइटी, वी से थोड़ा अरे स्ट्रॉन्ग बनो या स्ट्रॉन्ग बनो. सो ऐसे नहीं बन सकते. सो वी नीड टू सीक आउट हेल्प. दैट वाज वन इनिशिएटिव. And I feel contract in terms of if you're not able to handle your home responsibilities, or if something, tuitions of your children, contract some out, outsource some things out. You don't have to do everything by yourself and put that pressure on yourself. And one more initiative that my East team member Deepthi did was this initiative called Real People, Real Stories, wherein we had people talk about their achievements at work and in terms of how they have lived their values and beliefs, which I think in a way talk about their well-being at work. You feel proud when you talk about your achievements. That itself reinforces a positive, reinforcement in terms of enhancing your well-being, whether you're at work or at leisure.
Yeah, very true. In fact, what I feel in today's world, I mean, mental well-being is a bigger challenge than physical well-being. But we do not realize it. The problem between other diseases and mental disease is that इसमें आदमी को पता नहीं होता कि उसे बीमारी है, लेकिन बाकी बीमारियों में आपको पता चलता है because there are so many symptoms. यहाँ तो सिम्टम दूसरा बता सकता है कि भाई आपको है या नहीं है. बाकी बीमारियों में आप अपने सिम्टम देख के खुद बता सकते हो कि ये है. बट हम लोगों ने इसको अभी तक बीमारी समझा नहीं है. हमें ये लगता है कि यार इसका दिमाग खराब हो गया, ठीक हो जाएगा. Actually, it requires kind of medication, proper, just like any other disease, what I feel. I think she's much more expert on this, so she can tell. So this aspect, I mean, requires a greater insight in today's world that we are witnessing.
I would like to
please.
make one more point over here. Now, the job of HR these days is to first of all, make the people happy. This is something which we have been taught and which is something, you know, we follow also. The second job, and I think this is also more important, is, at least of equal importance, is to make the management happy as well, you know, because at the end of the day, it's business. So where I feel is that, you know, where our initiatives come in is, when you talk about employee benefits, you know, specifically when I talk about my team over here, there are certain things which can come from those areas which you were never expecting. Now, when we talk about giving them, you know, medical policies and so on, why not cover their parents? Now that entails a large cost, a huge cost, right? So like people from my team, Nupur is there, and so many people, they have actually come up with themselves, you know. This is something which they came up. Now the problem is, how do you get that passed, right? But that idea comes in. That idea comes in, and then you talk to the management that this can be done. Yes, it takes a hit on your finances, it takes a hit on your budgets. But at the end of the day, it's about the people connect. And that comes from within. So I think that's very important. And then you can pitch forward this kind of proposal. And how do you do it? It's a different thing altogether. But I think when we talk about employee benefits, a lot of it regarding the well-being part is also the fact that you're also catering to their families. That's very important.
Yeah, it's not remaining to office only. Now in fact, the entire home is an office.
Yes,
post-COVID. So keep ready with your questions. I mean, we would be interacting on these points. और मेरी उनसे रिक्वेस्ट है, जिनके हमारे बॉस जहाँ बैठे हुए हैं ना, जिन टीम मेंबर्स के, तो आप लोग ऐसे सवाल भी पूछ सकते हो जो ऑफिस पे पूछने से घबराते हो. तो पब्लिकली तो क्या करेंगे बेचारे, जवाब तो देना ही पड़ेगा ना. So, Shailesh, what I want to understand from you is basically, I mean, how targeted well-being improves productivity of employees?
Yeah, okay. So before that, I think one thing I learned, first HR session, कि ऐसे session में जाना है तो अपने team को लेके आना है, so that you can motivate them. I came alone. Operations का बंदा हूँ, ऐसे ही आया.
नहीं, उसका positive point भी है. कि team आपकी टांग नहीं खींचेगी, आप चैन से कुछ भी बोल के जा सकते हो.
Okay. Anyway, so coming back to that, I think when I talk about well-being or think about well-being, I think first thing comes to my mind is about the manager. You know, I strongly feel that with so much of field experience, I think manager plays an important role, I think much more than your family doctor, because he hits you here or here. You know, baki ki sab kuch we can, there is medicines available. For this, I think the period maybe is longer. And Rajesh is taking your that शेर का थोड़ा stride ahead. मुझे एक शेर याद आ रहा है.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Suddenly आया कि ये अजीब बंदिश है ये मोहब्बत की.
I can complete if you want.
अजीब बंदिश है मोहब्बत की. ना उसने कैद में रखा, ना हम फरार हुए.
In fact,
no, I'm just relating that to the manager and employee relationship. Is he giving the enough freedom and space for the employees so that there's no micromanagement and employee also don't want to move from that organization? I think so. For me, most important role is manager, and I can tell you that Schindler was always a GPTW certified organization, but this year I think we have moved to GMCP, which is Great Manager Certification Program, which can also play a huge role in terms of employee development and also the well-being part.
So how it is different from great places to work? I mean,
so this is, we feel that we were always a great place to work, but still many things I felt personally also that we are missing something. The connect, the attrition, the motivation. So we felt that rather than doing at a very large level, if we can choose the people manager and take them into a journey of being from a good to great manager, and then we assess them and maybe can also publish top 50 managers in, so it's a good visibility. And if we are able to develop that great manager, I think most of the issues can be resolved.
Great, great. So in fact, you just heard Shailesh, इन्होंने एक शेर बोला जो बहुत बड़ा शेर है, जिस अहमद फराज had written this, कि अजब बंदिशें हैं मोहब्बत की फराज, ना उसने कैद में रखा ना हम फरार हुए. तो कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हैं ये लाइफ की, कैद भी है और फरार भी है और HR भी है. मतलब HR के तो डेफिनेशंस बहुत अच्छे हैं. आप हरियाणा में जाओ तो हरियाणा कह सकते हो, आप ऑफिस में हो तो ह्यूमन सोर्सेज कह सकते हो, और एक दो मतलब और है, मैं अभी याद नहीं आ रहा है मुझे. तो दिव्या, आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम यू, दैट इज हाउ इफेक्टिव वेलनेस एप्स, आजकल ऐप का बड़ा ज़माना है, कि हाउ इफेक्टिव वेलनेस एप्स हेल्पिंग hybrid employees to manage their mental health?
Okay, this is very interesting. And thank you for throwing this question to me, because it talks about hybrid. And again, the most talked about word nowadays is hybrid, flexi hours, and customizing as per the need. So the first thing which comes into when people, if not HR, when other side of the colleagues are hearing this word, the first thing it triggers is anxiety. Why me? Why hybrid? Why I don't want to? Why I'm not supposed to be called? The other set of people would be, oh yes, it's me. I don't need to go to office, and I can work from home. I can work at my own flexible hours. So it's a mix of genre. So it leads to a lot of anxiety also for things which you are not aware of how this will span out. The second is FOMO. So are you missing out on something when you're doing a hybrid or work from home or coming and going on occasions? Whether, simple example, my seat is now not my seat anymore because it's a smart workplace. Today I'm sitting here, I don't have anything belonging over here because tomorrow somebody else will come in and sit. So how do we tackle this large shift of mindset and culture? And taking all the pointers, what we come here is, before even opting for an app to connect for well-being, prepare your organization to hone and accept this cultural shift. Starting from your line managers also, who need to exhibit more of resilience, more of compassion, bringing more of connectivity. If you are connected strongly as an organization, if you have greater platform to connect and socialize, which is also one of the aspects of well-being, social well-being is one of the pocket out of the 5 pockets of well-being, which is physical, social, emotional, so mental as well. So social well-being is one thing which should definitely target you to select an app which will help you socialize whether on office or not on office. That's very important. This third point is connectivity. Applications will definitely help you in bringing that connect, but I always say that do not only look at digitizing, but humanizing your approach. Select an app which is more humanizing in the approach, as you also said that technology will be there, but human connect is required. How do we humanize the app to it is very important. Like IHCL do have one-to-one tie-up, as you were mentioning, and we do a lot of webinars. One of the best thing about COVID is that technological shift has become really easy and faster, and you have a lot of small-scale budding companies offering you great tools, amazing tools for AI and automations. But how do you select it is very important as per your company. Be very cautious about it, because only technology can break the entire culture also. So be wise in selecting the applications that is there, augment it with human touch, bring in more of a socializing platform which will help you in taking the wellness aspect. Yeah. I would just like to share this because there is a lot of shift in paradigm, HR paradigm. Many companies are actually building a lot of support groups, which is on mental health. And it's not about identifying people who are going under depression or being, affected because of any family issue, but having that friend at workplace. We all had this or have this employee satisfaction survey, which talks about, do you have a best friend at work? Right? Isn't it? That statement is very much valid right now, because we are all human beings, we are social animals, we love being social, we need to talk. So here is something where application and human integration will help in making this well-being as a greater tool. And lastly, I would say, we all know about Maslow's hierarchy of need, the beginning of our studies, and that pyramid is really stuck on our mind when we design our employee engagement activities or any process. I think well-being is the basic need now, which should go on the pyramid also.
And just see the thrust that Divya throws, कि initially what we used to do is, सारे humans को हम digitize करते थे. Divya says ना, जितने digital चीजें हैं, सबको humanize कर दो अब. Going reverse that way. So now, मैं जब घड़ी को देख रहा हूँ ना, तो मुझे एक छोटा शेर और याद आ जाता है कि बंधी हैं हाथ में घड़ियाँ मगर, बंधी हैं सबके हाथ में घड़ियाँ मगर, पकड़ में एक भी लम्हा नहीं है. So you cannot capture even one single moment.
Rajesh, I would like to tell you, brilliant example of how you are integrating your passion, hobby, with what you do at work. So please encourage doing that.
So, I mean, just one words, all of you, before we go for the question answer, because time is running fast. Shwet, one thing that you like to say, not in a very lengthy one, but crisp, juicy, and KFC like.
I would say connect. Connect with empathy. That's the only thing that I would like to stress here. I can't stress empathy more than enough. I think it is an oft-repeated term, but connect with empathy. That's it.
Connect to Divya. What would you like to say?
Connect to me is knowing each other and adding value to
I mean,
each
I wanted
other's
to
life.
say what you would like to say. Just say connect. One word that you would like to say, just
When
as
it
a
comes-
concluding part for this entire concept.
Okay. I think mutual respect is one thing which comes to my mind.
Vipul.
I'll say empathy. How you can strongly
Great.
feel for the other person is going to bring it.
Shailesh.
For me, well-being, when I think of, one thing comes to my mind is happiness. I want to see that on my employee's face.
Sangeeta.
Well-being, I think, is self-love, self-care, look into yourself and put yourself first, because many times we are used to, and as HR professionals, first fill yourself, then you cannot fill, you cannot give from an empty cup. So self-care, self-love, whatever professional.
इससे सेफ्टी के प्रिंसिपल याद आते हैं. सेफ्टी के प्रिंसिपल्स पे जब भी फायर लगती है ना, तो जो सिखाने वाला होता है कहता है भाई आग में सबसे पहले अपने आप को बचाना है. खुद को बचा पाओगे तभी किसी दूसरे को बचा पाओगे. तो ये प्रिंसिपल आप लोग भी याद रखो. सवाल, क्वेश्चंस मेरे ख्याल से हमसे तो होने चाहिए. जी भाई माइक दो इनको.
Beautiful session. Thank you very much. I think that was the perfect ending for the day. This is Harsh. I'm a personal transformation coach, and this topic connects to me really well. And thanks to Divya, as you said very rightly, that with technology we have to build the human touch. So just a small question, that any of you are encouraging one-to-one discussions, whether with peers or with professional coaches, to let them vent out what they have gone through. Because every human being today carries a huge emotional and mental baggage. Until that is not clear, they will not ensure complete productivity. So any of you are doing some such things? would love to know.
Who likes to respond?
Thank you.
Yes, so I can correlate to it a lot because we organized this doctor session, a dietitian session, and a fitness session. So there was a fitness experts, a dietitian, and a doctor. All three of them, so when we are designing a program, I told them that, you are speaking to employees, but give me a brief about a personality of a person. I wanted to see the brief. So we collected somewhere around 150 to 200 feeds for these employees. And we were actually looking out what to target. Because see, organize any program, management is interested in ROI, and HODs are interested, what is it for me? I'm sending this guy for 1 hour, what do you have it for you? And at a personal level, I feel the employees really wanted a real thing. So we sort of created this experience, and on the basis of what we designed, so we were able to satisfy the ROI and the time use and the employee thing. And we utilize it for the future designing of the program. So this is how we did it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Captain Vipul.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would also like to add about mental well-being as we are talking. So employee assistance program is something which exists for us, all of us to experience. And the best part is that whenever a person is coming to HR, one is encourage other departments also to be people manager. As you said, Shailesh, people manager. Developing people manager, human resource factor in other operations is very important, so that that dialogue, one-to-one, does not wait for only HR office to open and have it. If that is the culture, I think that will really take forward, and we do very strongly over here at IHCL. And we extend the EAP services of personal counseling and confidential counseling to family members as well. So that's important.
दिव्या पर मुझे याद आता है एक मैनेजर ने अपने कमरे में बोर्ड लगा रखा था, आर यू हियर विद अ सॉल्यूशन और ए प्रॉब्लम. तो आदमी पहले ही डर जाता है कि यार तो जाना है तो सॉल्यूशन लेके जाओ, सॉल्यूशन है तो जाना क्यों. चलिए
But
नेक्स्ट
that
क्वेश्चन.
also says that every problem has a solution. So whenever somebody come to me, I say, do you have a solution? If you would like to share, please do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Divya. Thank
Next question. Yeah, please. Yeah, हाँ, mic लीजिए आप. पीछे.
Okay. So in our workspace as a HR, we have multiple initiatives, just say learning, bolenge, career enhancement and well-being. So learning, career enhancement, these are segregated among the entire population. We have different roles, different levels, we customize learning. Similarly, different performance level, different potential, we have different career paths for them. But most of the organization, in most of the organization, this wellness schemes go parallel across the organization, right? But as an HR, I have faced in my past that if we take an initiative, an employee set of expectation like our mental set, my expectation as an employee as my state of safety, security or well-being, that differs across the population, right? So just was seeking from some inputs from the panel that have we faced as an industry any kind of challenge like this, that rolling out an wellness initiative across the organization, having some resistance from particular population, not getting that effective?
The question was lengthy, but let me see. Who wants to, you want to answer?
So primarily, when we talk about this, one of the things which we have faced over a period of time is that, well-being is a very, very complex thing, because employees, even if you do a lot of things, there would always be a scope of, improvement at the end of the day. Now, when I talk about employee engagement, the general trend is that, HR does all those Holi and Diwali parties and so on, right? And the second thing is that when the entire aspect of the employee well-being comes in, जो employee engagement का जो हमारी बात होती है, when you talk about employee engagement, are the employees just joining the employee engagement because, as it has already been mentioned by Divya and so on, and even by Captain Vipul and so on, is it just because of the fact that, they just have to come there and they are just going through the motions, or is it just, or are they actually benefiting from it, So this is something which is a very, very delicate area, as a matter of fact. HR will do it because HR has to fulfill its KRAs, right? And the second thing is that when you are talking about actually implementing them, again, I will again stress on this fact that first of all, identify the need, because we have been talking about this for a very long time, but we have never actually analyzed the fact that what exactly is it that the employees actually want. How do you identify that? It's a very complex exercise, but a very important exercise that organizations have to do. First of all, identify what exactly is that trigger point. What exactly is it? Coaching? Is it mentoring? Is it the well-being of the employees through a way of employee engagement and productive employee engagement? Or is it only because of the fact that you are doing it for the sake of it? Identify, first of all, what you need to do. Because the day you identify correctly what employees want, and how exactly the productivity can be enhanced along with the well-being of the employees, then you have hit the mark. Again, I'm telling you, it's not an exercise which can be done easily. It's a continuous exercise, keeps on going, and I am sure that with the eminent panel over here, they would tend to agree with me to a certain extent that it is something which keeps on going in the life of an HR professional.
Thank you, Shwet. Since we are over, मुझे तुम्हारी आंखों का सवाल दिख रहा था, तो इसलिए मैं अपनी समय सीमा से ज़्यादा नहीं जाना चाहता, लेकिन अगर तुम्हारी इजाज़त हो तो एक दो सवाल आ सकते हैं, और एक हमारे दोस्त को एक शब्द कहना है.
Actually, we are already too late. What we can do, because after this, आप networking कर सकते हैं, so they can ask whatever they have there, the wine they can direct.
Any questions we can always. मगर एक हाथ कहता है कि मैं पूछ के रहूँगा. देखो, उधर देखो, तो 2 मिनट दे दो उनको.
The last question we can take.
I'll just say one line. Online or any wellness or any engagement activity, the way should be designed. A very famous quote, shaken but not stirred. So have those programs which stirs you up, just not shakes you up. So this guy who said stress program karaya, usko bola ki very nice guy, 25, 26-year-old. कैसा था program? क्या समझ में आया? Sir, stress नहीं लेना है. मैंने कहा और बस. So ऐसा मत करो, shaken but not stirred. So stir the people. That's how it is.
इसपे सिर्फ एक लाइव एग्जांपल है. I remember in one of my previous organizations, एक कैंडिडेट को हम लोग ट्रेनिंग दे रहे थे, तो कहता है सर ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ना पहले तो स्ट्रेस देती है, फिर कहती है स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट का कोर्स करो. मतलब क्यों? खर्चा क्यों कराना? हाँ भाई, सवाल पूछो.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So my question is simple. From past 2 years, we are looking at a lot of attrition. So most of the HR activities goes in retaining the SMEs or recruiting again. So since we are talking about so much of well-being of the employees, how much time do HRs actually give to well-being of employees, and how much time they look into like recruiting and retaining SMEs?
Sangeeta, you would like to answer, or?
Okay, so it's the way you look at it in terms of, one is that you have different people within HR doing different functions. So if you look at a person to retain in the organization, and you look at well-being through that prism, then if you're spending time to explain to that person what is that person's career growth, what is that person's developmental areas, what are the different programs that you are doing in order to augment that person's capability, acumen, all that are contributing to that person's well-being at the end of the day. Because I'm tying it back to the statement that I made at the start of the panel discussion, that work is such an integral part of you, of your self-identity, your source of validation, that if you feel more and more performing individual and that your aspirations from work are being met, through all these things, whether I'm able to grow in my career journey, whether I feel I'm a better professional today than what I was a year back, whether I am being recognized, I'm getting more of validation at my workplace, recognition, I am the first person chosen if there is an opportunity within a team, all that is going to add on to well-being. So the way I look at it, I think 80% of what you do is towards, as HR, is towards the well-being of your employee. That's how it's.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's proceed for our felicitation. And for this, I would like to call on stage Mr. Venkat Machavlu. And can we have a huge round of applause for him? He's the founder and CEO, CTO from iQuadra. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? Everyone, come on. Okay, to facilitate, I would like to call on stage. Please come, Miss Sangeeta Parameswaran. Can we have a huge round of applause for her, everyone? Mr. Shailesh Vilankar. Miss Divya Gupta. Everyone, come on. Mr. Shwet Awasthi. Captain Vipul Sharma. Can we have a huge round of applause for Captain Vipul Sharma? Okay, last but not the least, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Tripathi, our moderator. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the panel members? Thank you so much.